just show my people. Believe our hopes so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's all we need to build a. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WUB. And all the things that will happen like I got blue skies. And nothing make people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WUB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play your role, get where you need to. You can tune in from work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling? It's a show with no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WUB. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WUB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show, my people. Believe our hopes so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's all we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WUB. And all the things that will happen like I got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WUB.
Good morning, Belize. Welcome to the WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes for today, Tuesday, the 4th of February, 2025. Wherever you are, we hope that your Tuesday morning is getting off to a great start. We are glad that you started. Do understand that is up for we. I'm your host this morning, Mose Hyde, for Belize's premier morning conversation. And as always, we love to talk and love to get you talking. But before we do all of that, first, make we go with manners. We trust that you have great health this morning. We wish you have great energy. Your vibrations are positive, and you have a spacious and flexible morning that you could do all what you need for though. Get yourself ready for the new day while have on your radio, creme. Watch your TV, XTV, or got your apps to work on your phone for both those channels, or you got your social media stream up. You do your Facebook or you do YouTube, XTV Belize. We hope that you intend to subscribe today, because no watch and no subscribe. Like once you watch my YouTube, just subscribe and take you longer than a couple of seconds, and it does a great strengthening for us, so then we could return back that strength. That's the way it works, right? So do it this morning, right? Why not do it now? Now check this out. We are going to start off with a bit of a package of the news that's done by our news team. Also, we link directly with the National Meteorological Service to line you up with the latest weather forecast information. That's where we're going to start, in fact. And this morning, we've got forecaster Francisco Wellington to tell us all about what kind of forecast we can expect right here.
Good morning. A northeasterly airflow will support cloudy spells today and tonight. Showers will be isolated except for slightly more over southern areas this morning, inland areas this afternoon, and along the coast tonight. A few showers will affect the country Wednesday and Wednesday night. Winds today will blow from the east at 10 to 15 knots and seas will be choppy. Low tides will occur at 8:04 this morning and 9:42 tonight. High tides follow at 2:09 this afternoon and 3:48 tomorrow morning. Temperatures this afternoon will peak at 72 Fahrenheit up in the Maya Mountains, 84 along the coast, and 86 inland. The moon will rise at 10:47 this morning and the sun will set at 5:49 this evening. In the sargassum forecast, while surface observations have shown a slight increase in sargassum reaching some beaches across the country, satellite imagery continue to suggest very low amounts over the region. Therefore, impacts are expected to remain minimal, at least for the next few days. Sargassum will then likely increase towards the end of the month. And that's the latest from the Belize Weather Bureau. Do have a pleasant day.
The first private radio in 1989, Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
Based on their investigation so far, the police has explained that the shooting Friday at the Marion Jones Sporting Complex emanated from an altercation between members of the BLC and PIV gangs from the St. Martin's de Porres area of Belize City. Expecting retaliation, Commissioner of Police Chester Williams said there will be increased police presence in St. Martin's de Porres and that mediation will be put on pause until tensions subside.
We met with the senior command in Eastern Division, Mr. Romero and his team, strategizing to ensure that we put things in place to avert any possible retaliation. And so you'll see that there is increased police operations in the St. Martin's de Porres area. And that operation is going to continue for a very lengthy period of time because we want to make sure that we have things in place to prevent retaliation, even up to the funeral and after the funeral. I have also advised the mediation team, Brother Nuri and Brother Foti, that we're not going to engage into no mediation at this time because we don't want to bring the group together. Tensions are extremely high and that might result in further escalation of issues. So we will put aside mediation for now and allow the police to work.
Williams says it is possible that a state of emergency could be instituted. However, he spoke of what the police department is doing to help de-escalate tensions. He also spoke of respecting the work of the LIU.
The possibility of SOE do exist. As we have always said that SOE must be used as a measure of last resort. And so we are utilizing our policing strategy right now and see how well and how long that is going to hold. And if it is that we are doing what we're doing and we see that the problem permits, then certainly we'll have to go to another level. I am hoping that we don't have to get there, that what we're doing right now is going to hold. We try to remain in dialogue with the other gang members because we do understand that there may be sympathizers of the BLC out there who may want to retaliate on behalf of BLC. So we are making sure that we do not provide that avenue for other groups to get in into the fray, because then that is going to make it a huge problem for us. So far, we're getting cooperation. I have said to the police officers on the grounds that whatever efforts we employ must be done in consideration of the work that LIU is doing, because we don't want to hamper the good work that LIU is doing at this time with the other groups.
Dominic Navales, chairperson of the LIU, spoke about Baptist and how involved he was in the LIU.
Well, it's always devastating when someone you know and someone who you've grown to like and in many ways love passes. It's always devastating. Team was on the ground, of course, in communication with the Belize Police Department, getting as much information as we can. But yeah, it's been particularly personally difficult for me. Well, I've always known Brandon. We live on the same place, but we only kind of communicated now that I was in this position. I saw Brandon last Sunday. He may dress up to the 9. I asked her where they call for. He said they call for a church, and I tell her how we try arrange going to a service together. Unfortunately, that cannot occur now. So yeah, and I know he leave brother there, and I mean, we all know each other. We might not talk, but we all know each other. And we have the same complex field, the same basketball court, the same police street, the same Lacroix Boulevard, the same community. To us, he was one of our first points of contact in the area in which he lived. He was a supervisor on our program with our work team attached to him. He was, as I described to my team the morning when we put together the plan of action, he was a friend of LIU. And really my staff, they have more longevity in terms of the relationship he has had with them. So I think they're taking it in stride as well. So yeah, Brandon was one of the employees and beneficiaries of LIU and a friend of LIU.
Navales shared that having completed their data collection recently, they continue to see the boys they accompany dropping out of school, with management citing behavioral issues and the like. However, there remain challenges of boys from certain neighborhoods safely getting to school compounds. The body of a 6-year-old student from Stella Maris School was retrieved from the Caribbean Sea in the area of Belize City known as Hanger on Monday. The report is that Gabriel Pablo Oriano, who is autistic, snuck out of class during lunchtime to go for a swim. The distance is about a mile. Police were called, as were the relatives of the child who live on M&M Street. Teachers from the school were also on the scene. Authorities have confirmed that there were no signs of injuries on the body. On Monday, the commander of the Professional Standards Branch of the Belize Police Department, Senior Superintendent Glenn Rivera, told the media that their investigation revealed that PC Sheldon Arzu did not mean to shoot ML Rivers in the abdomen on Saturday, January 25th.
Our investigation revealed so far that he was shot in the midsection. I can say that there is no indication that the officer who fired the shot intended to hit him in the midsection. From all indication, the officer who fired the shot intended to use the force necessary to subdue Mr. Rivers by targeting his leg. Right? So there was no
point blank range. So how could he? I mean, that's 2 feet difference.
I think Jules, the statement of the officer, he said in his statement that he had gone to shoot the man in the foot, but he turned at the same time, and he ended up being caught in the abdomen. That's what the officer said in his statement.
PCR Zoo has a history of using excessive force in the line of duty, and Senior Superintendent Rivera was asked if that was considered in this investigation.
I can clearly say that our investigation so far have not indicated that the officer who fired the shot intended to caused the injury to Mr. Rivers directly as they encountered him. Those officers who were on the scene, they had used, from our investigation, extreme patience. They have given command to him to put down his weapon, right? And for him to adhere to whatever directive was given to him. I can say this, that our investigation also showed that Mr. Rivers, during his detention on the Friday evening, he had escaped. There was no force used on him because he did not pose the type of threat that our investigation revealed that the officers faced on Saturday. So throughout his detention, he was treated humanely.
But it sounds like you've already prejudged and reached a conclusion.
No, I am
that
just
there's
making a,
wrongdoing.
no.
You said they showed every restraint.
I am saying that so far from our investigation, the officer did not, because from your question, it would imply that the initials, from the initial encounter, force was used. So I'm saying that our investigation is not showing that.
Commissioner of Police Chester Williams admitted that police need more training for situations such as these and added that the use of pepper spray may be reintroduced.
Certainly, de-escalation of the tension was not working. And so the officers decided that they're going to escalate the force that they used. But the thing is that they went from words to lethal force, which should not be. You have to have something in between. And so we are looking to see now what we can do to perhaps inject things like pepper spray and tasers. And my fear with pepper spray, as you would know, that we used to issue officers with pepper spray. But my thing with it is that when the officers had it, there was an abuse of it. They use it in instances where they don't need to use it. And then we get a number of complaints. So I banned the pepper spray, right? We might need to see how we can reintroduce pepper spray with specific instructions, and then we're going to see if we can introduce tasers. I also said to commanders this morning to make sure that they check their armory, that they do have the shotgun that we had issued to them before, and if they don't have the bean bags, let us know and we'll provide them with bean bags. But one thing that strikes me from that whole issue, and I said to the officers this morning, clearly the officers on the ground were not properly trained in terms of dealing with this issue, because listening to Mr. Rivers, his issue of not surrendering to the police was one of fear. He said, I will not go with another police station, can't chance me and this, that. So obviously there was one of fear. And the method the police used to de-escalate or to convince him to go with them was, like you rightly said, 3 guns trained at him and a series of obscenities, right? That is not going to make him calm. It is not going to make him want to surrender, because all he sees is that if he surrenders, he might be killed or severely injured by the police. So we have to find other means to be able to train our officers.
Senior Magistrate Baja Shuman has ruled in favor of the defense in not admitting into evidence utterances, interview notes, and caution statements of 3 accused in the Bladen 12 case. The delivery of the decision for the voir dire or trial within a trial started last week and concluded today. The men are Mexican Juan Esparza Sanchez, Aidan Moises Perez, and Armando Martinez. They were detained by police following the landing of a suspected drug plane on November 4, 2021 in Bladen along the Southern Highway. Martinez and Perez were intercepted in a vehicle while Sanchez was found along the highway. The 3 men claimed they were beaten, and the court found that they were indeed subject to some level of fear and intimidation, which led them to provide the information they gave to police. That included leading the police to where the drugs were found, and in the case of the Mexican admitting that he had arrived in the country the night before the plane landing and that he was working with several others. Defense Attorney Richard Dickey Bradley spoke of the effect of the decision.
We have seen the photographs, in the case of myself and attorney Leroy Banner, he had gone to the Queen Street police station. I had also visited these said persons, and they were bruised, battered, and beaten. You can't have bruises to your chest, to your side, to your back, to your body, to your hand, your forehead, and that is because you were taken down by the river edge by the police, as they are claiming. Oh yes, we can't deny the man and don't have bruise, but then get it because when we carried him by the river to look for the drugs, then fall down. What a coincidence that all the persons then fall down. You ever know, I've never, from the time my hair was black like tar, I've never in a court of law heard any police admit that something kind of irregular, something was improper. I might not have seen it, but I did hear the person screaming or so. Never. Then the angels, they don't do nothing, they only shoot dogs, they never shoot people, they never. It's a sad situation, a serious matter that just took place. So it means then, if that is the only evidence against those persons, the case against them has just fallen to the ground, flat.
Not just weekend.
No, not just weekend.
But do you then take a move to have the charges against them dismissed?
Well, I was saying that in the British system, prosecutors are ministers of justice. They're at a higher level than we who, crawl about trying to get persons. They have a duty to the court, to what we refer to as justice, that if your evidence is weak and will not stand up, don't waste the court's time, because that is what is going to happen now. A lot of people who are necessary, I could tell you right after, but no, we only need like 6 persons to come so we could challenge what they want to say or what they have said. All these 60 witnesses, they just waste of time, man. Yeah, it's just, and then there's a whole nother drug case in Salina, so that can't get off the ground for the very same reasons.
Bradley also said the decision in the void weakens the entire case. The main trial will now continue, and the court granted an adjournment for today at 9 a.m. At that time, the prosecution and defense will have to present the list of witnesses agreed upon. Notably, former police officer Ilmana now has additional counsel, including Peter Taylor from Trinidad, joining his legal team, which comprises Belizean attorney Lyndon Jones. And that's the end of this news update. We take a small break, and then when we come back on the other side, we're going to open up for a conversation. You're listening to Creme Radio, you're watching XTV.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. The news. Informative, accurate, current information, local,
All right, welcome back to the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Mose Hyde here with you on this Tuesday morning, 4th of February 2025, and we're now open for the business of conversation. And while we're not telling you to come to the zinc fence for contact away, we're inviting you to call us. We have our telephone right here, ready, working. It's 280-5848, and we invite you to call in and engage us in conversation. You're not confined to talk about what the host is talking about. You can call on your own subject matter of preference, you deem to be of high priority. Link right here. So that's the way it works Tuesday morning. WUB, and we have our first call of the morning. Krem, good morning.
So yeah, and it got off early this morning. I did not finish everything on the call to share yesterday. The first thing I want to talk about this morning, going back to the Port of Belize Limited, is that we the people have to keep our eye on how the government of Belize is doing the port. I mean, only the people on stage that people mean that enough we best interest, we have to know what happened at the port. I started a conversation yesterday about the shareholders, the Belizean shareholders at the Port of Belize Limited. And the point that you had made was valid to me. And at the same time, to still say, I'm curious to know who are the other, I think, 66 shareholders. I don't know if that's private information, because the port is in the government of Belize, then it manages on behalf of we the Belizean people. So I'm asking you, do you know if that's private information, who the stakeholders are, who the Belizean stakeholders are?
I imagine that what could be done is that you could put the FOI to the test. Some have used it, we have to use it to know how it works, no? So I think it is something that can be used now that is in government hands to say Freedom of Information Act and try to see how that works.
Good, thanks for that suggestion. Secondly, the government of Belize still have a responsibility to stay in communication with Belizeans at all times. Before you meet with people, tell them who the people are going to meet with, tell them where you want to talk to the people about, get input from we, before you go up meet with investors or whomever, and make decisions without the Belizean people's genuine knowledge, input, who want impact to we lives as Belizeans. We have to continue to hold the state accountable for the next decisions on our behalf without any campaign awareness, so people are aware of the content or whatever that they make decision on, so that when the people give input, and they give input for safe knowledge. So I will check out the Port of Belize concern for this morning, and thanks for the recommendation you make. Secondly, the situation with, I think, 24-year-old brother Emil Rivers. The two things I want to stress. It's interesting to me how I don't know if you observed, like, you know, that news item we showed this morning more. I have to comment on it because I see it. How different the vibe is when the commissioner of police and the other brother, I forget what his name, the tone was more even, they appeared to be better listeners. I noticed that right away, which is different from at least the conversations I would see with police officers, especially the commissioner of police, that I noticed that, and I really have value for calm communication, which is something I need a lot of work on, but I work on it. Did you note that more in that interview?
I read scripts, so I would not have discerned a change. I imagine that a part of that has to do with, you know, the initial, let us just describe it as friendly as we can, blundering of the information and the report, where the initial report was not consistent with what the parent of the young man, the moms of the young man was saying, and then having to come forward to say, well, this is what happened, that there was this disparity, and then the video emerging. So once the video emerges, now I believe that is the power of that kind of record. It's and again, I'm not up to date on exactly how the video was done, whether it was, I imagine it was another police officer that was recording. We know that the power of the body cam in America has been an extremely illuminating mechanism, because now it's no longer what somebody says, like it's right before you. And I feel that there is no need, arrogance and loud noise is of no value when we can all look at this tape. And again, Belizeans have looked at it, and there's not just one response to it. There are those who say, well, they can see how this thing happened. But for many, they look at this and at the very least are able to see significant shortcomings. And then, of course, there are those who are saying, so I feel like it's the power of that video. I feel if it is, you're seeing a more controlled, a level approach, I feel.
Fair enough. I never thought that's fair. And I really encourage Belizeans to listen to all parts of whatever story it is here, to try to stay calm and then think logically. Now I have to disclose I did speak with the mother of Miss Rivers. And from what she said to me, first off, we have to always bear in mind Brother Evan is mentally ill. That's the first thing we have to always keep in mind. And before it got to the point where there was an exchange of fire, a number of things happened. And from what Brother Emil told his mom, or he must say, even with mental illness, he had an awareness that it had to be fearful, because there was him experience before he gets to that point. And the commissioner conceded that. So I don't get, and I really wanted me just tell the police department about this. I really don't get how the police, again, because like the point you've made, have moved forward on some level of humility to listen. We have to concede that then gone from yelling to the point of violence is quick, and we could use it as well. And I was surprised, but I used to hear the commissioner say, there's a failure in training. I often hear people in a power position say, there's a failure on our part in training. So I really had value for that. But I still don't feel like they come forward as fully as they should in owning all the wrong that happened prior to them getting to that point. Hearing the address what happened, because the young man had one story, they have one story. We know better than, so we don't know what happened. The recording, I wonder if there was any camera in the police department to find what actually happened, because the young man said that they tell him to take off his clothes and I mean, going to be cold in the cell. Now, I don't know if they have cameras in the cell to determine what actually happened. I don't know. And then another concern for me, we cannot make the point that this officer had a prior record just go get lost in this other concern about how the police responded to this officer. How the minister coming out and saying I never properly watched is not acceptable. You mean to tell me that the police department had no knowledge that this officer had been previous, they never had no, even if they do it under another administration, they never aware, they never had no concern. What they actually said for that move, like, you think the police, like, so they had just get
Well, the tradition in Belize, once there is a change in the political party that forms the administration, the tradition, the consistent and well held up, sustained tradition is that you go looking for people that you don't feel are with you and you get rid of them. That is Belizean Leadership 101. So the number of people who are taken out of their positions once there's a change in administration, then essentially says this is standard for you. You can't say that, well, you can't blame us because it's the previous administration that brought in an individual, when it is the norm to come in and clean house based on your political alignment. That's what you do. So you are more concerned about whether or not somebody is aligned with you politically than whether or not somebody should be in a position of authority that might be a danger to the community. That's essentially what you're saying.
Right, so we can't just make them get away with that.
That's not that doesn't hold water. It doesn't hold water. That's neither here.
Right.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, today is the 154th since the Better Education Foundation started the calling campaign on Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes about the government of Belize, specifically the Ministry of Education, meeting on national care policy to ensure that no other Belizean students' human rights are ever violated.
Sister, I thought, because I didn't get a chance yesterday just to touch base on the accompanying police story, which makes everything so bizarre and ironic, is that in the adjacent news cycle, the report is that a police officer was dealt with great promptness for killing the Governor General's dog. No, you are. I know. I think because of inheritance, you're taking care of your family's dogs. I know that I assume, we've not had this conversation, I assume you love the dogs. And I love dogs, and I am a dog owner. I've just dealt with the loss of a dog, and it's an emotional thing. You go attached, and I don't know somebody where no value the life of a pet that, So that is understood. Listen, I believe that we have to treat animals humanely and properly, and absolutely would want to know the circumstances that led to this happening. But there is the swiftness with which this officer has been dealt with, when we think about what happens when you have to be fighting for officers to be held accountable for far more egregious things. I mean, and in this adjacent news cycle, you have a story that emerged that somebody that was convicted of killing somebody while in custody happens to get a second chance, and you hear, well, you can't help but to feel and to suspect that it is not that we love dogs so much, it's because of who owns the dog, why such swift action has been taken. Again, I completely accept that there should be an inquiry into. It would appear that this was not an act of animal cruelty. The reports indicate that, as unfortunate as it is, and you might say, man, this guy overreact, and well, the guy is saying he just fired a shot like to try to get the dog off, and it happened to strike the dog. And it's like well, you know, I don't deal with guns, right? But if, you know, if you to walk and one dog they come towards you, I want bend down, pick up one stone and try, because I don't want no dog bite me. But that no means that I want to be cruel to the dog. Again, I feel that this matter just seems excessive in my view, and then when compared to other responses, you can't again feel like, okay, this is not about a dog. We've seen where animals have been killed by officers who are doing searches, and if you have a dog, people love their dogs, then go in, and we have countless instances where people's animals have been killed by police. Their dogs have been killed because, you know, oh, we can't do a search and the dog don't have a problem and we kill them. And, you know, people just have to accept that. So I really and truly am a bit disturbed by that contradiction for sure, and believe that that officer should have due process, and I don't see under what, unless this person was intentionally cruel to a dog, how you could make a man lose his job because of that.
Mose, I should don't find a big respect for bringing that back again, because everything is absolutely true. And let me declare I'm a dog lover. But I think they have to love dogs, guys. We love dogs. I'm sure this is not the correct one, that's what it's about it too. But every point that you made, I absolutely support. And again, media workers, we have to hold the police department accountable. Not let them out of the book, because people form attachment with animals, I would say sometimes stronger than with human beings. Because they genuinely, and it could be any animal, but other dog people, I mean, like, they love you unconditionally. Like, now they are family members. Like, we talk, so we have to keep that part of burden, because that the way it was presented in the news, the whole process was unfair. And then to go back to the Youth Education Foundation here policy campaign is to say to the Ministry of Education that a national policy is needed to ensure that Belizean students, two human rights violations stop happening. One, that based on the Constitution, they have the right of expression, freedom of expression, and two, they have a right to an education. So what has consistently happened in Belize and most of the Caribbean countries, based on colonial European standards of beauty, is that students have to wear their hair one certain way. And if they don't wear their hair based on European values way, then they cannot have access to education that believes. And the people in the political office like to throw around the word decolonization, but that's lyrics they have, because this is an example where sure they're not into decolonization. Well, Minister of Education or a Chief Executive Officer of the Ministry of Education or Chief Education Officer, whenever the story make the news cycle, to say, we send out to a circular, or we send out to a memorandum, or we talk to the individual school, and then it happens again, clearly show that what you're doing has failed. Because the fact that it keeps the make the news cycle means the violation continues. And so we have to advocate for the Ministry of Education to sit down with UEF and us have a conversation and input, meaningful input, to create one national hair policy so that there are two human rights violations stopped. That campaign continues, like a call in this morning. Now, October, November, December, as a soft rollout, UEF has protests at the Ministry of Education, District Education Center on Mahogany Street, with the intention to come back here in 2025 to continue the protest. And as an add-on, I would wear African-inspired hairstyle. UEF interests the African descendants, which like the Black people in Belize and in the diaspora. So I had to go over by Tourism Village to meet with people in the Belize Federation of Fishers, because we have this year-long Belize Bluebird Awareness campaign. Then the thought crossed my mind when I passed the Ministry of Education office on North Front Street. Hey, this may may be a better location for have the protest, because this is the BCD headquarters. And then I also thought about it on Tourism Day, there's a lot of tourists, so it will bring international attention to this here policy. So I'm done writing for the permit for the former location, so I sent one another email saying, listen, I'm changing the day of the protest from a Wednesday to a Tuesday, and I'm changing the location from Mahogany Street to National Street. No, that this is February. No, I said we don't have some protests already in January, but I'm going to get no feedback. So, anyways, I'll work with the people. Only to be told, this is the last thing when it is, that they have to wait to get response back from Belmont Plant. And I'm like, since when? I don't have to wait for Belmont Plant to tell you, if you don't give me one protest permit. The response I got back was that because of the location and because of tourists, they have to get approval from Belmont Plant. So I said, that will have nothing to do with what Belizean having the right to protest. The person said, I don't want to back and forth with you. I just to tell you what I said, okay, no problem. Call back again. Then I'm told, the person who tell me that gone for a week vacation. Or for a week, they know what in the office. So I will call back today and find out what they want to tell me. But I just want to update enough to say why we're not doing the protest as yet. And I also asked if I had to get some permit because besides I have to encourage Belizeans to go to Belize Diabetes Association Facebook page for participating in the Million Steps Challenge. Even though that's on January 2nd to Ash Wednesday, April 16th, I encourage Belizeans to get moving. So because of the part of the app, and because I want, maximize the opportunity, I say, you know what? I could walk from Ladyville to the Ministry of Education office on North Front Street, wearing my African name, to want to bring awareness to this campaign. So, I got one good ride at sister. I said, I'm going to walk. So we did walk from our home in Ladyville to the Ministry of Education office. I don't think, but I want to see if I had the stamina. I think like 10 miles, takes 4 hours. We did January 9th. So I practiced for this walk. So I asked them, do I need a permit to do this walk? And they said, well, the walk for part of the process. So yes, do I need one permit for that as well? So then I got 2 permits I need for me now. So anyways, I don't want to give you the update on that. And believe it, I encourage you now. I'm supposed to have the one more thing I want to know is I know I left on air for a while, but I don't have the because I left on the phone and I don't have access to the number for price gouging. I want to encourage Belizeans to report price gouging. The number is 607-4686. Put that number in on the phone. 607-4686 to report alleged price gouging. And thanks to the call of who may come through. I'm not going to take no price gouging the market. But even price gouging the market. Anywhere we want to suspect price gouging, and I have to say, especially the market, please put that number in on the phone. 607-4686, and that will be the enemy community reporting for this morning. Give thanks for the reason.
Thank you very much, sister. It's 26 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're going to take a break. We go to 2 Cents Calm, sponsored by 4 Point Security. Take our first commercial break and return with more WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes.
You're watching WUB and this is XTV. Big up 4 Point Security and Euphrates Auto Rental, our sponsors. Now this, as we continue our journey for the upcoming election, this Mesopotamia area have 3 people who is fighting for the seat. Make we find out the people in 2 cents, how they feel about it. Here I got 3 people around. Who will I choose? Where are your 2 cents? Give me your 2 cents.
I got no idea about that.
All right. Who you don't want to be your ear rep?
feel like they should have bring him back, man. Mr. Dean Barrow. Yeah, very, very nice, sophisticated man. They send another do a very good job right now. The value of money. It's not.
But none of them not running in this area. So who you don't want out of who they run? Out of the three where they run?
Who they run right now?
You have 1 PUP and 2 UDP. So you have to take care of them.
Not really. Not really, not right now.
That's your 2 cents.
That's my 2 cents.
2 cent question, if you for me choose one candidate for this community, who you don't choose?
And I don't choose nobody right now. I don't vote because I do the same food.
All right.
And I look out for the community.
All right. That's your 2 cents.
Yeah, my 2 cents.
All right. So who you don't vote for out of the 3 where they run?
The one where they give the most.
All right. That's your 2 cents. All right. I prefer.
I'm the wrong here, so I don't care who win wrong here.
All right. That's your 2 cents.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. They got 3 candidates run for this community. If you select one, who you not select?
The mark.
That's your 2 cents. Yeah. WB, this is XTV. And you're getting people in 2 cents within the Mesopotamia era. And we're doing our election tour in our community. Big up yourself.
All right, welcome back to the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes, where part of people talk. We've got a telephone number for you to do the talking, 280-5848. That is a live line for you to participate in the conversation. I'm Mose Hyde hosting today's show. Words cannot describe, but we've got a call. Krem, good morning.
Morning, Mose. Nigel Martinez here from the
Yes, sir.
Federation of Fishers. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, morning. So, Mose, or have you seen the latest press release from the World Bank?
No.
It speaks about Belize advancing investment in the blue economy. You haven't seen that?
No.
Okay. Let me share some information with the visitors and the listeners of the show. So, on February 1st, the World Bank issued a press release stating that that Washington has approved $32.23 million through multiple sources to fund Belize advancement in its blue economy. And I found this very strange because it talks about the sustainable use of the ocean and coastal resources for economic growth while protecting the environment and improving livelihood. And we know that we had just recently signed this blue bond that is addressing a significant portion of the conservation community. But what is alarming about this, Mose, is because last year, Healthy Reef did a presentation and stating that the health of our reef is fair and that we are seeing fishes rebound. And this was based on a presentation done by Audubon. And immediately it was a red flag for us, and we had a pushback because while you are saying that you guys are seeing the fishes, our fisher folks are saying that they are not seeing it, that they are not feeling it. So when we ask them, but where is it that you guys are surveying to see the fishes, they are saying that, listen, we are surveying within the no-take area. And this is one of the fundamental flaws of the marine protected area system, that the no-take areas are not being protected because the fishes are not spilling over into the general use area. So this brings back, and I want you to follow the dots more so that we can make the connection. This brings back what World Bank is saying explicitly in this press release, because they are now saying that because of significant environmental and economic pressure, Belize has now been ranked third among small island developing states in disaster risk. And they are saying that our barrier reef has declined from a fair to a poor health rating due to two things: overfishing and habitat loss. So what we have been saying, what the scientists have been saying, is now being reiterated by now the World Bank. But what is amazing about this press release is because the World Bank did not focus the press release on the overfishing and the habitat loss, but basically they focus on the tourism side. And they speak about uncontrolled urban developments and the gap between water connection and the sanitation system. And their approach, the government approach to address this, is through policy and infrastructure intervention. So they're saying most basically, listen, we have an infrastructure problem with our waste. We're going to address that, upgrade Belize City wastewater treatment plant. They want to expand capacity and improve treatment performance to meet national international demands and standards. They want to do similar in South and San Pedro, and they want to look at developing some carbon credits so that they can get some sustainable financing. But nothing at all to address why is it that our barrier reef went from fair to poor. And if you notice more, they have said they have, I guess, only the two pillar sustainability. They only look at the environmental and the economic. They are saying that those are two significant pressures. But they fail to recognize again more the social pressure. And this will continue to happen because they want to turn a blind eye to exclude people's livelihood and well-being. And we have said categorically that fisher folks need to maintain their family structure, they need to eat, they need to pay their bills. So they will continue to go there and work. You see, let me ask you another question. When the Sustainable Fund back in 2021 was forming their name, wasn't it your understanding that this money was going to be managed by this new NGO, and they were looking for the name to give to this new NGO? Wasn't that your understanding, Mose?
I can't say I really followed that particular development, Nigel.
Okay. Well, let me just refresh your memory. When the fund was being discussed to the general public, they wanted a name because they were calling it all sorts of names before they really named it the Believe Fund for Sustainable Future. And during that process, it was announced that this new NGO was going to be the organization that is going to manage this fund. And we had a pushback on that because we were saying that there are several existing organizations that the money could have went through why form a new NGO. But recently, last week, while Leandra was on your show, she mentioned that they are no longer an NGO, but they are now a private conservation trust fund. And I begin to ask myself, but when have they become a private conservation trust fund? We have always known that the Believe Fund for Sustainable Future was an NGO. So it begs the question, was it reporting criteria? What made them change? Why wasn't this being transparent? Why did they not came to the public to explain the change from NGO to private conservation trust fund? That's one. The second thing, in trying to address the pushback that they are receiving, not only from the Believe Federation of Fishers, but from the majority stakeholders, which are the fisher folks and the fishing community, they have emphasized on your show that they want to now move towards community grant scheme. Now, Mose, we have said categorically that the approach that the Believe Fund for Sustainable Future is taking is not addressing the climate crisis, the climate catastrophe that these guys are facing out at sea. I had a fisherman that called me last week. He suffered a heat stroke, Mose. That guy doesn't have any social security. He doesn't have any pension plan. He doesn't have anything. And he suffered a heat stroke. And this is what we're saying. Hence the reason why the BFF has been advocating significantly for changes to how these funds are going to be distributed. But I want to reach back to what Leandra and her team has been saying. Most, they have said that they are now going to reach out in their last call to two fishing associations. One in the Shinosh community and one in the Shark Fishers Association. Now, as I understand, the Shark Fishers Association, 90% of them are made up of guys who are not from here, who are from across. And the focus on their grant is for data collection. And let me remind the general public that a part of the requirement for Fisher Folks license is for you to submit catch data. So I can't understand how is it that the Belize Fund for Sustainable Future is going to give a Shark Fisher Association a grant to do data collection. That's just alarming to me. That's one. The second thing is that on the show they mentioned that the fisher folks from the Shannon's Fishermen Association is going to be getting a grant, and that grant is going to help them with capacity building and some training in sustainable fishing and some additional funds to do an expansion on their office space. Most, while those intentions are good, they are not addressing the major crisis that is happening out at sea. As World Bank explicitly states, the reef has now declined from fair to poor. After poor, what party win was it was dead. It was collapse tourism, and collapse everything, food and security, everything. So why do you push money into capacity building when the conservation community will manage and will make all the money off of the consultancy in order to address the overfishing when it takes place out at sea? And for decades, we have seen whereby they try to transition fishers into farmers, raise chicken, raise pig, and when season opens, every single solitary person they out at sea. Every single solitary person. So in order to address the problem any at all, in order to address the policy changes we need to take place out at sea. So when World Bank made this comment in their press release, it hit home because a few years ago they were instrumental in giving Belize over $5 million in grant support for diversification and alternative livelihoods. They were very instrumental. So now, few years later, they are giving Belize money again, addressing that now the reef went from fair to poor, and we have not seen any diversification modes. We have not seen any significant changes. And as we continue to speak about the matter, you do not hear anything from the fisheries department, anything from the conservation community to address the problem. They have been silent to this date. Nothing on the assessment of our stock. So to have a World Bank come out and post this and then not go in depth.
And Nigel, just so I give you this notice that I would like you to share that document or release or whatever it is with me. So
yes.
Yeah.
So I will send this over to you shortly, a link to where you can find it.
Yeah, man.
It's a very short document and you'll be able to read up on it. Just to go into the breakdown of the 32 million. So 23.5 million is coming from the World Bank International Development Association, and I would want to assume that this part of the money is a loan, because as the press release states, the other part of the breakdown of the money are grants, and 3.76 million of that money is coming from Global Environmental Facility. 4 million is coming from Pro Blue Multi-Donor Trust Fund, and 960,000 from Global Facility for Disaster Reduction and Recovery. So again, it's addressing the surface of the problem. It's not addressing the heart of the problem, which is overfishing, which is leading to major habitat loss. And just to close off, Neil, Mose, if you remember, I think last week you were very instrumental in saying that look at what is happening within the farmers in the north and the sugar industry, and the fact that now we have to basically take a step back to try to address the problem, because the substantial amount of rain that we are getting has affected the sugar crops significantly. And with the skills that Dr. Martinez had, he was able to go out and reach out to the Green Climate Fund in order to access that $50 million. So that is working from behind. Why am I saying that, Mose? Because we have been saying that the fishing sector is in crisis. Our colleague, Marco, has done an exceptional job in reporting, along with Marisol, on so much issues that are facing the fishing sector, and no one is coming to the rescue. All they are doing is mortgaging out the sea, selling out our assets, and putting us further in debt. And now we're reaching to a situation that now, internationally, our region is being classified as poor. How worse can it get before they make the necessary intervention in order to address the problem? So I just want to remind the general public that the Blue Fund is a mortgage of our sea. It's a mortgage for 19 years. It's a mortgage that the TNC are being paid, that the conservation communities are being paid, that the Belize Fund for Sustainable Future are being paid, and who are not being paid, and who are not being compensated, and whose livelihood and well-being does not matter, are our fisher folks and fishing community. So while Leandra wants to now create a community grant mechanism, why don't she and the Belize Fund for Sustainable Future invest in Monkey River, invest in Punta Negra, invest in Hopkins, where all these communities are being affected by their shoreline?
All right, my brother.
Thanks very much.
It's 7:54 inside the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. The telephone number 280-5848. I want to, before we go to break, just to raise the issue of just a painful bit of news that came out yesterday about a child from Stella Morris who, according to the report, is autistic and walked to the hangar, got off the school compound and went out to the hangar area and drowned, according to the report. And I can't imagine the pain the family is going through being a father. I could just imagine what that is. Like, that is just a horrific bit of news. And Stella Morris is an institution, and the staff of the Stella Morris is nothing short of heroic work for decades, educating children who are born with diverse abilities and diverse challenges. The Stella Morris is there. Last week I was in a conversation with my old man, and I was just coincidentally just describing to him that there's a wide world, there's a world apart insofar as at the primary school level, private and public, and that gap is widening, and that there's a huge responsibility on the part of government to do something about that. And that gap manifests itself in so many different ways. Now, I have not been able to ascertain all the details of this incident. And so I don't know, for example, whether or not the Stella Morris School has been able to afford having security presence at its gate through the day. I don't know if the child walked through the gate or if we're told that the child climbed the fence. It would seem to me more likely that the child was able to just walk through the gate. And for a number of our public primary schools, affording gate presence, security, and all of that is challenging financially. But I don't know, but it's an important bit of information to know. Because if, as I'm experiencing and have experience with the kind of presence that exists at private institutions, it makes you feel very confident because the gate is secure, it's manned, it's staffed, there are people there throughout the day. Unfortunately, the financial constraints in public schools does not have that same presence many instances, because I can't imagine, based on my experience that I have with private schools, how a child can walk off the compound. And if it is that there is no security presence at the gate for the Stella Maris, I don't put the blame on the people who are there doing this tremendous work that they do. That is not for that type of work, that type of teaching, that type of, it's not for the faint of heart, it's not for the weak, it's for people who are genuinely strong. And I give them respect. You know, the first thing that occurred to me when I heard the news yesterday was that I recalled, I think it was last year, that there was this viral video of children from Stella Maris performing at the Children's Rally in September. And the video was viral, and it ended up coming on my wall, on my page, and I think it might have been posted there, if I'm not mistaken, by Channel 5. And the video is of these children from Stella Maris performing, I believe it was a song, the hit song from Punta Rock artist out of Los Angeles, Little June. And the pandemonium in the Civic Center that day, it was just something that was a sight to behold. Like I'm sure many of you have seen that video. It was awesome. The video brought me joy, like to see the spirit and the joy of the children from Stella Maris, and the sheer joy and the overpouring enjoyment of thousands of primary school kids at their performance. It's an absolute, it's just an iconic moment, and legitimately brought me joy to watch that video, to the point where I don't go showing people stuff that I see on social media. I started showing people that video who had not seen it before, because I just thought it was just so extraordinary. And it's the first thing that came to my mind, is to just remember the highs of that moment and then the lows of yesterday, for the family of the child and for the family at Stella Maris, of people who put in so much to that school, for the children who go there. And I can't take out of my head, again, I will try to get that matter confirmed. If there's anybody that can help me with that, you can call in, because it is consequential. I can't imagine that this would happen at a school that is able to have the kind of resources to have a significant presence at the gate. And the Ministry of Education has sent out some release about they have linked with the family and so on, and they're going to be looking into this incident. This should not have happened. It's 2025. All our schools need to have the resources and the capacity to have presence and a secure presence at the gate, not just for children who might walk out, but for the possibility of unwelcomed presence coming in to a compound. It's 2025. It is something that until it happens, and again, it's possible that this was not the case. I don't know for a fact. I want to emphasize that. I am not speaking from having confirmed that there was a shortage of presence at the gate. It just seems to me unlikely that they would have had that presence, and that presence failed so horribly. And again, if there was no secure presence at the gate, especially knowing the fact of the students who go to that school, of all the schools that we should have a commitment of resources to have a significant presence at the gate, is the Stella Morris School. And it's hindsight, they say, is 2020. Unfortunately, we are left only with looking back now, because we cannot undo what happened yesterday. But we can't act on the assumption that because that has happened, we are going to have the magnitude and quality of response across the board to ensure, to the best of our ability, that something like this never happens again. That the kind of a commitment that we need, and this doesn't stop at just security presence at the gate and all of that. It's just the compound control, quality of the experience on the compound. These are things which fall on the desk of the Ministry of Education and the government of Belize. And it's not to pile on, but it is to say that it's 2025. And it's tragic, but it's made more tragic because it should not happen and could have been and should have been avoided. So I don't want to assume that the response is going to be adequate. I have a platform, I have a mic, I have a camera in front of me. I have a duty to say, listen, if it is, if it is the case that there was people who are supposed to be there who might have, for whatever the reason, not fulfilled their duty, that is something that has to be accounted for and dealt with promptly, and it has to definitely be fair, but somebody has to be held accountable if that's the job that they were supposed to do, because their incompetence or failure is this is the result. So if that is the case, then that is the way it has to be dealt with. But I know there's a number of our schools who can't afford and who have not been resourced to have that kind of presence to maintain a level of control over campuses. In fact, there are campuses that don't even have a fence. And I really hope that and in fact I go beyond hope, I expect a proper report coming from the Ministry of Education on exactly what failed. But we have a call. Krem, good morning. Krem, good morning.
Yes, greetings, brother. In the name of the Most High Allah, bring you. I am a father of a child that used to attend Stella Maris. And during the time that my son was attending Stella Maris, I remember seeing the presence of a warden at the entrance on the, what do you call it, the Prince Margaret Drive at the entrance. And also one in the back, that's from Freetown Road. But I also noticed that a lot of this misbehavior used to happen with the children, and the reason why some of them was victims of others. But the reason why they was victim of others is because a lot of the children in Stella Maris are not primarily special needs children. I understood some of those children that go there come from schools that they're being expelled. Children are being expelled because of their rude behavior or aggressive behavior. My son was a victim of a lot of times he get beaten, scraped, all kind of different things happen to him. The lunch was taken from his box or so. Because my son was very calm, he have autism, but he's very, very calm. He just stand up and sit there, and whatever they do to him, in one occasion they whap him with a swing, because the child was in the swing and let go the swing and then knocked his nose. Luckily he not broke the bone. But anyway, to make it short, I noticed present, but at the same time I had to be personally engaged. He dropped my son in the morning and sit in the compound until the arrival of the teacher, because if it wasn't like that, a lot of different things would have happened to my child. Actually, what already happened.
I appreciate the call. Personally,
yeah, are you going to break now?
Personally, I hope that this was the result of that the child finding a hole in the fence or climbing the fence, and that's what happened. And if that is what happened, then again there has to be a commitment to say, well, listen, if that is what has taken place, then we need to upgrade presence. We need to upgrade with maybe camera surveillance. But listen to me. Just because of the fact of the students that go there, there's an no, I feel like this is standard. This kind of consciousness has to exist. Period. It's 2025. And unfortunately, it's because of yesterday. It should not have required yesterday for us to be having this conversation, but definitely because yesterday happened, the conversation has to take place. Because this is so tragic that it's not just the parents of that child that should be feeling this great sadness. I feel as great sadness that a family, that's how your child dies. A child that, that's how your child that you, oh my goodness, man, that is just unimaginable to get a call like that saying that is what is happening. And so it's like I'm not here, I'm just saying here that to this point, listen, we get on to my knowledge what we got is, I have not seen it, but I hope, I imagine that the Ministry of Education has put out a release. I have not seen such a release. But even if they have put out a release, this requires more than a release, though. This requires like nobody has come forward, right?
I have something, let's see.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't know what it is right now. My son has already completed the age of, he has been graduated from that school already a couple years now, right? But I don't know what it is now, but during the time that he used to go there and I was present there, I noticed, I don't know, I was supposed to ask you, at what time did this child went to Hangar? Because during the early hours, which I used to drop my son an hour and a half from about 7:30 to about 8 o'clock or 8:30, there was no presence of adults or teachers there, so that's the reason why I had to stay there, because when they are not present, the children just do whatever they want, and they say the strong abusing the weak, or the big fish are using small fish.
According to the
I also wrote,
according to the report, it happened around midday, around noon.
Midday?
Yes, sir.
Oh, and so I went on the bus that Stella Maris have, I wrote a couple times because my son was coming back with scrapes in his ears and so I said, I need to go on that bus and see what's taking place. And I reported to the acting principal at the time. No one is paying attention to the kids on the bus. The lady who's supposed to pay the wagon, she's having long conversation with the driver, yet she's not paying attention to what happened in the back with the kids. This one knocking the next one and the other one on the head and patting on the head. She has no attention, she's very distracted with the driver. And I reported to the principal at the time. And finally, the teachers, you say yes, they are making a great effort and to teach these children the special needs it takes. But what I learned when I was taking my child there is that many of these teachers, if not all, they don't have the proper training to deal with special needs children. Because from time to time, they have to hire the special people from abroad. I remember I met a lady from Spain and another one from somewhere else that came there. But unfortunately, like you said, financially, the school couldn't afford to pay them because they were professionals. They had to pay a high salary, so they only do like a 2-3 weeks and they go back. Right? So I used to say, like, I agree what you say. The government should take care of these things, to have at least 1 or 2 teachers that are professional in this field, but also teach the teachers at the school and also handle the children in the professional necessary way. I hold that point, and another one I wanted to mention to you in regards to the U.S. problem with this sanction that this madman wants to do. I'm asking myself, but Minister lives for a country, something which I associate with this. Why do we love, you say, love who love you. How do we love who no love we? Huh? Why we continue loving who no love we? Minister Farrakhan quotes me as well, he say, some people, but I think he said black people too, are like a crazy woman falling in love with a no good man. Because the more he hurts you, the more you love him. This is the way I feel we are sometimes. We want to insist that we more deal with the man we don't like we and don't love with. Or with people we don't love with. The president of Mexico, my second home, I love that place. She had managed to negotiate with the man. He might just sit down and say, oh, I pay you, pay for you. And I also believe, if you notice for the past 2 decades, the call centers throughout Central America and the Caribbean, no all of a sudden there's continuous deportation. And the only hope I understand when they go back is the same call center. So I believe, like Musa Baruka said, it's a plan. One does respect that.
All right, brother. It's 14 minutes after 8 o'clock. This is the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. You go to break, we'll be back.
February is
All right, welcome back to the WB Wake Up Believes Morning Vibes, Tuesday morning, 4th February 2025. Mose Hyde in the house with you until 9. The telephone number for you to call in is 280-5848. That's the direct line for you to participate in the conversation. And we've spoken about multiple things this morning. Just to kind of finish up on the topic that I ended on in the last break, where we spoke about the 6-year-old child that ended up somehow getting off the compound of Stella Maris and walking to the hangar area, and according to the report, it appears he drowned in the water that's coming from Stella Maris, and we are told that the child was autistic. And you know, we've heard the report, but the reality is that something like this happens. Just to kind of put a wrap on that, something like this happens. It is not a moment to get some quote via a phone call or to get a press release. People have to come forward and really present and answer questions. The Ministry of Education and the administration of the school have to come and tell us and answer questions. We know that it's 2025 and it has the making ourselves available, except for the police department, who at times they do it. Then Commissioner, he's probably the most interviewed person for the media every year. I say that without having done the calculations myself, but I feel very confident that I'm not wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm barely wrong. The most accessible and the most interviewed person in Belize is the Commissioner of Police. And at times it's too much. Everybody else runs, it appears. And so, you know, something like this happens, that a child dies, yes, you have to link with the family, but we understand that, and I'm sure that they have done this. But there's also a responsibility to come forward to the public. You serve the public. But we have a call. Krem, good morning, WUB. Yeah, I'm hearing you, but like if you have me on speakerphone or something, I don't know.
All right, 1 second. Let me just do an adjustment here. Yes, is that better?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right. It's also from the PSU. I was listening this morning, and I've been trying hard not to weigh in on this matter of the commissioner and the dismissed officer who shot the GG dog. But when you raised it this morning, I felt it that I had a duty and an obligation to make a comment on it. And I think what's important here, Mose, is that we must start asking the police officers within the police department to start getting involved in the functions and in the running of their associations. There is a police association that has a duty and an obligation to its members. And when they identify abuse of power and abuse of process, they have a duty and an obligation to speak out on these things. There would have been several complaints about the level of authority that is vested in the commissioner. And we have questioned as a society many of the promotions that have occurred there. And the newscast would have said that, oh, that goes to the commission and the Security Services Commission and all of that. The reality is there are recommendations that come from the desk. And there are provisions in the Police Act and in these regulations that gives him unchecked power. And no single one man should have the authority to hire and fire people. The public service was never designed to be that way, including the security services. But the laws have been changed
to accommodate that kind of behavior by the current commissioner and what I'm saying is that we have to treat people fairly and people have to have recourse when a decision is taken at one level. Now here you have a tribunal set up so that the officer can go through a hearing, face his accusers, and defend himself. And after the tribunal have made its ruling, one man come and say, I don't pay that tribunal, but that is an abuse of your authority, sir, and if it is that he wants to discipline officers, then he should be the first level that an officer should go, and if the officer is aggrieved by his decision, then that officer should go to an independent tribunal. His actions against that officer was abusive. It's an abuse of his authority. It was harsh, and it needs to be reversed by the Police Advisory Council, which I don't think the officer should be at the Police Advisory Council if there was a proper process within the department whereby officers are not only disciplined, but also promoted. And I'm calling on the police minister and I'm calling on the police officers who have gone away on taxpayers' dollars to get their law degree. You have a duty and an obligation to come back and make the system better. And a lot of you have that law degree in the city abuse that is happening, and no one try to take time out to put together a paper with recommendation and lobby support from other organizations to ensure that this current system that allows the commissioner to abuse his position is addressed so that everybody, including our security service officers, are treated fairly. And I want to say that the version of the video that was sent to me has audio from both the GG and her husband. And it is the husband who was explicit in the video, saying this officer must go. So clearly, there was pressure put on the commissioner to act in the fashion he did based on the audio video that I have that was sent to me. And so I think that the commissioner, like I said, I think he got this one wrong. It's nothing personal again on my end. I have no qualms with the commissioner. We've never had any misunderstanding. But I think we have to speak up when we see an injustice, because an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And I also want to condemn the actions of the Governor General's husband. I don't know what makes these people think that they can act the way they do. If you listen to the officer, and when he said that the GG husband had instructed him to disarm himself, unload his gun, put everything in the gun, I dare the GG husband to try to give me any instructions. And that officer, while he said he didn't want any problem and complied, this is where you make them feel that they have power and authority. The GG husband have no such power and authority. What he should be doing is focusing on improving NEMO, which has been a mess under his guidance. And I dare say that speak to officers then. There is no real sense of direction there, but that's an argument for another day. But I felt it important most to give support to that officer and to call out what I believe is excessive by the commissioner. And I'm hoping that the very Police Advisory Council, who is charged to advise the Governor General, will really look at this thing in an impartial and independent way and do what is right. Alright, before I go, I also just want to provide a quick update as it relates to the firemen who are going through a very difficult time right now because of the poor leadership that currently exists within the fire department. Successful meeting yesterday with the CEO Kennedy Career, very respectful, and she was very understanding and committed to trying to resolve the issues. The issue here now is that these officers have been disenfranchised, have not been supported by their heads, and not only the head, but the entire management team at the top here, they've been taken advantage of, and they have been selectively applying the regulations where the allowances are concerned for these officers. So you have several officers who may be receiving danger allowance, hazard allowance to be doing their work, and then you have those who are not receiving it. So these are the officers now who rely on the overtime to try to make able to meet a decent or live a decent life. And so the actions by again the management team there in terms of curtailing that exercise would have forced these officers to now say, fine, you don't want to pay me the overtime which was guaranteeing me a decent life or at least allowing me to meet my expenditure, then just pay me what is due to me. So in essence, what we're going after now for all these officers who have been disenfranchised is to say you must pay all of them their danger allowance because they're exposed. You must pay them their hazardous allowance. You must pay them their housing allowance. Most, do you know when a firefighter is transferred, they're only paid $150 in house rent? When every single public officer is transferred, they're given $300, which is still not sufficient. But these officers have been chanced under several fire chiefs, and nobody has really stepped up to say this thing is wrong. We have several complaints on these officers before the Joint Separation Council, but these things take time. So I want to applaud those officers who would have stood up and say, no, we will not allow you to address it based on how the mechanism is set up to the Joint Separation Council. It is wrong. It never should have been here, and it needs to be fixed now. And so that is where we are to rectify those allowances so that those officers can be properly compensated for the risk and the exposure that they put themselves through to serve the Belizean community.
Is there, well, I guess you won't be able to comment. I just received some kind of breaking news that there is some kind of sick out with the firefighters.
There were some soft industrial actions taken yesterday, and that and so I can see that, and that was countrywide. Following the meeting yesterday with CEO Carrillo, we gave her our commitment to work with them in good faith. However, this morning, as a matter of fact, I am literally heading over to the Ministry of Public Service as we speak to deliver a letter to CEO Zatina and CEO Carrillo over at the NEMO building, which gives them 21 days. We're not declaring industrial action, however, we're giving them 21 days to address these shortcomings within the fire department, and we're also calling for an audit of the fire services department because there are some serious allegations in how funds are being utilized by the management team in the fire department, and there's some serious allegations on missing inventory. These officers have not received proper uniforms and boots for over 4 years, yet there are allocations for these things. There are no allegations of missing boots that were in stock. So we're calling in that correspondence, and we said it to the CEO. The Auditor General, Mr. Mose, called in to do a comprehensive audit on the fire department so that these officers can allay the fears that any mismanagement or misappropriation is happening, which in turn causes them to lose what is rightfully due in terms of benefits. So we are not taking our feet off the pedal mode. I can say to you that within this 21 days that we're going to provide to the ministry, there will be some very, very soft industrial actions here and there across the country to ensure that we understand that we're serious about addressing this.
All right, Dean. Give thanks. That's the President of the Public Service Union, Brother Dean Flowers. We take a break. We'll be back.
In Belize, we value our families. We value our communities. We value our neighbors. 90%
All right, welcome back to the WB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. Mose Hyde here in studios on this Tuesday morning, and always open for conversation. The number is 280-5848. That is the live line for you to participate in the conversation. Thanks for sharing that news item. I did have it as something to mention, Sister Yaya. So, to my knowledge, for the first time, our country is going to be exporting jail space to another country. Yesterday, like I said, you bow down to the new regime in Washington and you'll get burned down. Unless it causes your stock market to start to crash, you hurry up, change your mind and pull back your tariffs, but that's not my business. My business is that our neighboring country in the region, El Salvador, has indicated in news yesterday that they are open to not only taking back Salvador's citizens, but that they are open to take even U.S. citizens. They don't mind jailing U.S. citizens on behalf of the empire. So essentially what they're doing is they've turned their jail industry, their jail business into an export. I can't imagine something that would be done for free. So El Salvador has become globally renowned for its incarceration standard. They build prisons very quickly. Unpleasant holding cells, and the U.S. seems to think that that's a very nice thing to buy. At least the new president, that's his view, and I stand to be corrected, but this is the first time that jail space, to my knowledge, is going to be an export. And is that meaningless to us? I don't think so. One, the region is completely capitulating to the new head of the empire. It's not unexpected from El Salvador, but you have to start to think, well, everybody else to line up. Everybody to line up. I wonder how we people in one line up. What special service? What special accommodations to make the emperor feel good will we do? Guatemala, land any plane where you want, boss, in the middle of the night if you want, 3 o'clock in the morning you want, anybody where you want, put on it, we good, we just send the planes, land your planes, send your people in, be good. Salvador, watch out, we got jail space. You don't want your citizens in there, you don't want your jail your own citizens, we could do that for you, for a small fee. We got you. We got world-class prisons this side. We good at it. We just pull you off of the street and in prison you. We need to deal with no court. That's how we stand. So everything is everything right now. So that's how it's of some relevance to us, because it's just adding on to your understanding of what the new reality is. Bow down or burn down. And that applies in-house and out-house. That name people are not care. Then you go for within and outside. So then you deal with things. Aye. Our turn will come. And we will decide whether we good or not good with what we are asked for. But you don't avoid this set, not this set. We don't avoid no set before, but you know avoid this new upgraded version of the empire. That is for sure. We'll take a break, come back and wrap up.
I'm Randall Friesen and I manage Westwell Produce, better known as
All right, we are going to lock off now. We're over time on this Tuesday morning. If we got health, we got strength, and we get enough sleep, day the morning, 6:30 for the Wednesday morning edition of the WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. You hope you have a great Tuesday. As always, hail the team. Larry G at Creme, the glue at XTV, Mr. Cliff Lewis, and in the control chair this morning, Miss Alex Sibylle. In the meantime, stand strong, stand firm. For now, we're gone!
Wake up, Belize. 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 Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is the show of people. Belize our hopes, so to needless reason. Nobody feel